Hey everyone, today I am sharing 4 cards that I created. I used a couple different products. For my dies, I used Altenew's Bold Alphabet dies along with the fabulous Florets stamp set. I chose the ThermOweb Chic Chevron card fronts along with the transfer foil sheets in the colors Lilac and Aqua. So I actually had created these cards already previously, but I did them with a gray cardstock instead of black. But once I created them, I kind of had regret about not using black instead. So I went back and created these additional 4 cards. With my other ThermOweb video, I used one slimline to create 3 different cards, and this time I'm using 2 of their card fronts to create 4 different cards. And I thought that it would be really fun to play on the geometric patterns of the Chic Chevron card front. I decided to do kind of like a split half and half, like a yin yang kind of card. I don't know, it was just an idea that came to me and I really wanted to do it. I thought these 2 colors were really pretty. So with all the ThermOweb card fronts, they are printed on toner and you can run them through a laminator or a mini Minc machine and you would transfer the foil onto them. So that's what I did for my 2 card fronts. For my black cardstock, I decided to add the fabulous florets onto one diagonal of the card. So I used a ruler just so I can place the flowers where I wanted them to be, and I'm going to stamp them with Versamark ink and heat emboss them with Ink on 3's chrome embossing powder. My original card that I did was on gray cardstock and I used white, which kind of clashed with the white on the card fronts. And then I also used silver, which kind of blended into the gray cardstock, and that's where I kind of had regret and I wanted to redo them. This time I did it with silver on black and I thought that it just looked a lot nicer and it popped and it didn't take away from the white that was on the card fronts. I actually have an Instagram reel sharing the gray cardstock. So if you're interested and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that version, but this is actually my final product. So with the bold alphabets, I wanted it to say hello, but there are only 1 die per letter. So for me to be able to space it out, I actually used the I because it was the same shape as the L. So it was kind of a placeholder just so I could center everything. So I went ahead and cut the HEL, and then I went back and I placed the I where the L is and then lined up the rest of the letters. So that's just kind of a trick I do with dies where I only have 1 but I need like multiple, and it really helps because you're able to line up everything nicely. For this particular project, you need to save every little scrap that you cut out. So you'll notice that I have this little tray where I put in all my little die cuts because I am going to be trimming this down and basically putting it together as a puzzle. So once I die cut the hello, I'll do it also on my Aqua card front because these are going to be the exact same cards just with different colors. If I'm already in the process of making cards, we might as well make more than 1. I've been on this kick of making multiple cards at the same time. For the cards themselves, I am going to do a bit of die inlay because I am actually going to cut these card panels in half and I'm going to do it diagonally down in the middle. So I put a piece of washi like right at the back of the card so the sticky side is facing up and I'm able to die inlay it and then keep everything together. So all those tiny pieces will be die inlaid, and then I'm going to take it to my paper cutter and trim it diagonally down the center, which is kind of scary. And make sure you have all the little pieces that you cut because some of them, especially around the E, are very, very teeny tiny and you want to keep every single one of those pieces, which is why I have that tray sitting right there. So I'm carefully pulling up those letters because I'm going to replace them with the black. Because I cut this diagonally, I also need to cut my black letters the same way. So you'll notice that only 4 of the 5 letters are needed, so the O won't be there. So I lined everything up, put it into the card front, and I trimmed those down, and I have all these tiny pieces for the black dies as well. Once I do that, I realized that since I had my washi holding all the letters in place, I'm going to glue this entire thing down onto my card panel. Half the work is done for me, and I just need to kind of put together the rest of the pieces. And since this kind of is like a mirror image yin yang, I need to pull out those foiled pieces for the black portion of the cardstock, and I am literally just putting together this puzzle piece. And thankfully, this word isn't very complicated. That's why I picked the Altenew's bold alphabet dies to do this, because I knew that the alphas were just a lot bigger and I didn't have to worry about too many small pieces. Yes, the E did have very small pieces that I needed to keep, but it wasn't as troublesome as if I used scripty letters or anything like that. This bold alphabet die is super expensive. It was, I believe it's $55 on some sites and up to like $65 on another, but I had gotten it on sale on Simon Says Stamp. And I've been trying to be really good about sharing sales that I find on there. I check it ever so often, and they actually do deep discounts on products. And this was one of them that I got for like 20 bucks, and it was totally worth it. It's an alpha that I use in my collection all the time. If you follow me on Instagram, this was actually my Instagram monthly divider that I used all last year. So I cut out all the letters to kind of help me keep track of like where I start my months, and those are the alphas I used, and they're just so good for cards. I really enjoy them. So anytime I can find a good deal, I try to share on Instagram or I try to share in groups. I'm not so great with keeping my blogs up to date, but it is something I am trying to get better at because I am such a person that loves deals, especially on crafty items, because they're so expensive and you want to be able to get more bang for your buck. Anyway, so for the second portion of the card, I am doing exactly the same thing except in reverse. So instead of the foiling being at the top portion of the card, it is going to be at the bottom portion of the card, and I am using those foiled pieces to fill out the top letters of hello. This is one that does require a little bit of patience because of the smaller bits and pieces, but I thought that it was so fun, and I was able to use these card fronts to create multiple cards. So I ended up with 8 of these because I had 4 in this video and then the 4 previous ones that I did with the gray cardstock. If you see the gray one, let me know if you like that one better or the black one better. I actually really like the versions that I created for this video because I thought that my color choices were just more bold and you can kind of see it better. With the gray cardstock, the embossing powder kind of like fades into it, and although I do love a monochromatic look, it just wasn't as bold as I wanted. So I added a few embellishments, and that is it for the 4 cards today. I'm having so much fun with these card fronts and foiling that I hope you try it out for yourself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time with another one. Bye!